Hello everyone and welcome to New Tech Tuesday Tutorials. I am your host Richard Evans. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. So today I'm going to show you how to control your DDRs on the TriCaster using the control panel. Now this allows you to have a tactile feel over your media playback instead of having to use your keyboard, your mouse to scrub through your clips, playlists, and do all sorts of things. So let's dive in and take a look. Alright, so we're going to start off inside of the TriCaster TC1 interface before I start to show off how to use a control panel to manipulate and control our different media players like our DDRs. Alright, so we'll do a quick crash course review on the DDR players, which are going to be at the very bottom of the interface here. We have DDR1 on the left, we also have DDR2 over here on the right, and then we have a graphics tab here on the left, graphics number 1, and graphics number 2 is on the right. And then we also have a bank here for sound, so you can play MP3s, songs, theme songs, whatever you want to do in there. Okay? So these all kind of act the same way as far as media players are concerned. As far as their presets, their controls here at the bottom, etc. So I'm just going to focus on DDR1 for today's example. All right. Now I have DDR1 punched up on my preview row, so it'll be on the screen here to the left so that I can preview things and not interrupt my broadcast that's currently going on between this interview here. So at the bottom of the screen, let's take a look at some of these different controls. So first off, very basic, is we have our controls here at the bottom that allow us to start and stop and move between different clips. So for example, I'm just going to hit play here and keep an eye on preview row. What's going to happen is it'll play this clip and at the end it's just going to stop. All right, now when that's over, I can hit stop again and that'll take it back to the beginning. And I have an option here to hit loop. And what that will do is I'll go ahead and hit play again. And when it gets to the end of that clip, it will simply loop that clip over again. All right, now let's hit stop and I'll uncheck that. And let's check this box here, and that is our list mode. So what that's going to do is if I do the same action here, I'll hit play. And once it gets to the end of that clip, instead of looping, it will go to the next clip that we have here. So kind of like a playlist that you would have to go through. Now I can also have these both selected, so I can have it be in a list mode and a loop mode. And what that means is, let me go ahead and advance to the very last clip here. It will go through the entire list of clips, and then once this gets to the end, it will start over from the very first clip. So you can have content rolling however you want. All right, so let's go ahead and turn that off and turn these off. Here is the button for show on, and that allows you to play different clips directly onto your mix effects or your program row. If you want to take a more detailed look into that, check out the YouTube page, youtube.com/newtechinc, the show on feature. But let's go ahead and just play that real quick and hit that button, and boop, it automatically just sends it over to our program output here. And if I hit it again, it'll switch back and advance the next clip. I also have an option for autoplay, and what that means is if I have, all I really need to do now, instead of hitting the play button whenever I go to that source live, all I have to do is simply take that source live using a transition, for example. So I'll use my T-bar here and bring it on, and hey, it automatically played that clip. So that's all I had to do. So a little bit of movement there, yada, yada, yada. All right, so let's go ahead and go back, and of course it advances to the next clip. Okay, so another thing that you can do within these DDRs that I've shown off before is you can also do some rudimentary editing in here. So what I mean by that is I can trim the ins and the out points off of these particular clips, which is great if you're generating instant replays and throwing them into your DDRs, or just doing some quick cuts where you want to cut off the intro and outro of different clips. And how you would do that is I'm going to take this clip here, since it's about 11 seconds long, and I want to trim it up here to maybe like 5 seconds long. So what I can do is I can scrub through the timeline here, and you can see when I do that, the video appears moving, and then I'll say, let's go ahead and start that clip right here. So what I can do now is set my in point there, and now that's where that clip will start, and then I can move it a little bit further, and I can set my out point here. All right, so now it's only a few seconds long. Now what's cool about this is I have non-destructively edited that clip. I haven't gone through and rendered this out as anything. So if I want to change that clip later on, say like I had an instant replay that I want to move it a little bit further back, well, I can do that simply by going over here and moving my out point. And now I have that clip has been modified again. So a cool way of non-destructively editing your clips. All right, so the last thing that I want to show you on the DDRs here that we'll be taking a look at is our different playlists. So there are different presets of playlists here. So we have, what, 6 clips here in this particular one. But if you have a pretty big show, that could get to hundreds and hundreds of clips. So to keep it organized, we do have these presets over here on the far left. And if I click on number 3, you'll see that I have 3 clips in here. And number 1, I just have 1 clip. But this allows you to keep your show a little bit more organized. If you want a clip that's just pre-produced, segments or commercials, etc. Really good way to keep your shows organized. All right, so that is the lay of the land with our DDRs. I'm going to put everything back to normal, and now let's go ahead and take a look at our control panel. Ta-da! Check it out in all of its glory. So what I'm going to focus on today is going to be on this section over here of the control panel, which is going to be where you can go to manipulate your show and your different media players. So first thing here, let's take a look at this area. So these first 5 buttons here, that's going to be how you would control the different media players that are on your particular device. So on number 1, that'll be DDR number 1. Click number 2 here, that'll bring up DDR number 2. And then since I'm running a TC1, if I click on number 3, that will bring up my graphics number 1 tab. And number 4 will be my graphics number 2 tab. And if I click on sound, that'll bring up my sound tab. So now these are going to be titled a little bit differently depending on your device. Like for example, a VMC or a TriCaster TC2 will have 4 different DDRs. I just happen to be on a TC1, so you kind of get the idea. And what's also awesome about this is you can group these accordingly. So say you wanted your DDR1 and your sound player to play at the same time. Well, just hold both of them down. They will light up like that, and now you can do that. Or do different combinations of these. Click them all down, whatever you want to do. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you are these 2 buttons over here on the left. Those are going to be the ways for us to move between those different preset playlists that we have within the DDR, which I showed you here. So over back on the interface, take a look. So right now I'm on my preset number 2, and if I go to my previous preset, that will bring up my preset number 1, and if I go to next, let it go to 2, 3, back and forth, etc. So that's an easy way for you to do that. And again, that's available to you on all of these. All of these controls will let you be selectable after assigning which media player you want to use. All right, I know there's a lot here. Now the next thing here is going to be this menu here in the middle. This is pretty awesome. So this will tell you the name of the clip that you currently have selected. This will tell you how long that clip is, and also how much time you have till the end of it, and then that will tell you how much time has elapsed. And if I go ahead and hit play here, just to give you a preview of that, you'll see that will count down and that will count up. So that's another way to take a look at that. And if I hit stop twice, it will reset that back to the normal. Now we also have an area here that says comments. If I go back over into my interface, right click on that, and say, let's add a comment here. So I'll say, hello everybody. Hit apply, and boom, that was on our control surface here for us to take a look at. So another good way to organize clips, etc., or just put some funny jokes in there, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and skip these for a second here and show you these. So these are your controls. In order for you to play back everything, which I showed you earlier. So that will allow you to advance between clips or go back. And then I can also play those clips from here, stop them, and if I hit stop twice, it will restart that clip from the very beginning. Now these 4 buttons over here on the right, this is where we would go through on the interface to start setting things like those loop modes up. So I'll go ahead and hit loop, and when I do that, that illuminates on both the control panel and on the interface. Same thing with playlist, so I can do those back and forth, etc. And then I can also turn autoplay on as well. And if I want to just instantly fire off whatever clip I have in my DDR, let's go ahead and let's say we'll go to Red Berries here and want to play that on my program output, just hit show, boom, and now that clip is played over there on my program output. If I hit it again, it goes back. All right, Now what I mentioned earlier about being able to do some rudimentary edits, etc. Let's go back to that same clip that I was working with here, onto this Lakeview clip. And now what I want to do, let me go ahead and reset that here on the interface first. So I'm just going to use my keyboard and mouse to do that real quick. And now let me show you how to do that on the control panel. So what you'll do is you'll see above where we have our joystick here is we have an option. This button here says shuttle. Let me turn that off so you can kind of see. All right, it's because it's a little bright. Hit that. And now I can use my joystick to do that same action I was doing. So if I just move it over a little bit. Oh, see, you'll even go back to the next clip if you want to. But I can go over here and say, all right, I want my clip to start here. Now I can use these buttons on my control panel. Let's say mark in. Boom, there we go. Now we got a new in point. And let's put it back here. Mark out, and now that has done that. So that's great for playing, editing your instant replays or just clips on the fly, so you can trim off the intros, outros, all that jazz. And that's pretty much it for how to use this. It's a lot. I mean, but it does make things a lot simpler and gives you a tactile feel over your clips. So you can just literally bang, hit buttons, and you're off and running and having an awesome show. So as you can see, using the control panel to manipulate your DDRs is super convenient and helpful in bringing your shows to life. Now, if you liked this video and would like to see similar tutorial videos on NewTek products, click subscribe on the NewTek YouTube channel at youtube.com/NewTekInc. And for formal training on NewTek products, you can sign up for NewTek University, available at newtek.com/newtek-u. And for more information on NewTek products and services, you can contact your local reseller or visit our website, newtek.com. And lastly, if you are sharing your work on social media using NewTek products, tag us using the hashtags NewTek or TriCaster. That's all for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for the next edition of NewTek Tuesday Tutorials.